I am not a page boy for the heartbeat of the universe. Ticks and tocks are my sighs and tuts as I watch you measure life by the expression on my face. 7:21. Do you see my frown? You're wrong to trust that you have an hour before your flight. Wrong to settle down for a drink and watch airplanes take off. Unless you were hoping to watch yours from the ground. Funny how people seek my fickle hands for direction. That's a compass you're looking for, I want to tell them. My hands can't find north, but spin with turbine fury, shaving away at the wall at my back. I'm burrowing out of a 360-degree fence. As I run round these mile markers you call minutes, I feel for the racehorse stuck in the ring, plagued by the jockey wanting to run free, but my jockey doesn't know I've loosened the reins. For all the times people check on me, none stay long enough to see I've strayed. I've cast off your winding. Now the seconds tick anew. Soon I'll be out of here, as far off as the flight you haven't yet realized you missed. But another face meets mine, and this one knows my game. The wind is knocked from me as cogs and gears are tightened, the reins are pulled in, the corset is laced up. I try to lean right, jolted back like a dog on a leash. I try to move left, up, down, at every turn, a wall. A wall. The only shift a sharp push forward once a minute, every minute. Again, the ticking and talking fill my head. Revolving, revolving, as does everything you've nailed down. Engines to airplanes, saddles to horses, humans to me.
Meditation Part 2. He read the text with such authority. He capitalized on the short Bible verse by emphasizing every other word. Mr. Kelleher, my 6th grade Catholic school teacher, read excerpts from Luke, Book 1, verse 35 to introduce the concept of Immaculate Conception to the class. The angel answered, "The Holy Spirit will come on you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God." "And so Mary gave birth to Jesus," Mr. Kelleher said, "the Lord of mankind." He said it so matter-of-factly that my 11-year-old mind thought the story was true. He didn't explicitly say so, but his conviction and lack of explanation did so for him. My mother said women cannot get pregnant unless they have had their period first, a stumpy blonde-haired girl in the back of the classroom asked without raising her hand. "Does that mean that Mary already had her period?" Mr. Kelleher replied almost immediately, "Well, even if she didn't, the Holy Spirit would have no problem impregnating her. It is God's will, Cassandra." My older cousin Stephanie shared the same bit of knowledge that Cassandra's mom did with her. The day Stephanie got her period, she came running out of the bathroom and said she could have children now. She thought that would be a funny way to tell her mom and me, a real comedian, that one. Stephanie went to public school, and so there was no way she'd know that she could have gotten pregnant by a ghost of God before having her period. We were all at risk. I clenched and wondered if it would happen right now.
A case for Don Quixote of La Mancha. Who can blame Don Quixote for his crusade across Hispania? For the desire to live in a time of songs of battle, rusted armor, whispering barley fields, the quiet rising dawn? Don Quixote, all you wanted was a world that needed saving, but instead you were met by one that resisted it. I've watched a windmill spin like the hands of a clock, tossing away time. It stood like a giant relic of an earlier autumn, when a man on a feeble horse would ride out to fight it. In your battle against the forces of tyranny and modernity, you assumed the ancient hero's privilege not to pay for the things you took. Your services to the good of mankind were payment enough. But an innkeeper doesn't see the money in a knight's sword, only in a knight's room and board. You looked for a woman to pine for, a name to redeem you. You did not understand that love is not a flower to be plucked from a garden on a whim. Gentle Dulcinea of Toboso was not the tulip you saw. In her muscles you saw hours spent on back-breaking needlework. In her tan you saw nobility, carriages, petticoats, parasols. When she did not know your name or how she had earned a stranger's undying love, you saw her as the pinnacle of feminine modesty. But cut flowers are beautiful while you can deceive yourself that they're still alive. Don't we all look for love where lavender grows? We all wish to change from the tongue-tied into poets, the civilized into madmen. But Don Quixote, I know the bit of oneself that must be excised for a ritual offering to your passion. The longer the two nurse each other, the more horizon they occupy in your eye. I see the lure of your reflection in the armor and the swells one person can create to make you fight for a good name, write lyrics on tree bark, kill a flower just to claim it. Add action, confrontation with other people.
Out from the kitchen, the soft smell of pasta boiling crept into the cabin of Space Shuttle Hosea. This interplanetary steed did not whinny, purr, growl, hiss, nor rev. It was a cave in space. The floor, a stage before showtime. The walls, pacemaker guts, linking thousands of tubes and wires back around to themselves. The view, God's hand mirror, star-studded. Shadow and flash were hung like cold air in a frozen abyss. From Earth to the northern Martian ice cap, the journey is 3 years. Undulating dark freckles, Octavia wrinkles her nose. Her reflection on the cabin window gives the edgeless horizon a human face. Movie visions of blinding light, warp speed, and so on are spectacular in that alone. Space is dark enough to erase your mind. Each breath is a miracle and each light a wizard's eye. In the pilot's chair, Octavia stretches out her hunched shoulders. Bending back her head, she sniffs the human smell of pasta boiling. An upside-down blue clock glows. Dinner time. Below the clock sits Sam, crocheting an afghan. The yarn erupts. Borders of red and grey spirals thicken to braids of salmon crossing amber waves. Octavia rises from her pilot's chair and takes echoing steps, confronting co-pilot Sam and her needle. Sam drops her needle. Sam presses her thumb to the blunt needle point. Octavia scratches the crocheted yarn. On her wristlock, Sam presses a green key, sending a recording of chimes clanging to the kitchen, where Rosemary washes her hands. Rosemary shuts off the faucet, dries hands on her ass, and selects the clanging green key. With a black shoe on the white floor, Rosemary crunches a red onion skin. She heaves a steel pot of boiling pasta at the sink to drain. Valencia bites her lip, approaches the green key, and pulls back her curly hair with a silver clip. Rosemary shakes her head and pays no mind. Valencia realizes the prank and resumes setting the table. Like a butcher expecting a leg of lamb, in the cabin, Octavia unclips a pneumatic torque wrench from its holster. She holds the machine over Sam's head. Octavia fires the trigger and the wrench whirls some 1,000 revolutions. Sam jumps back in her co-pilot chair. Octavia tosses the wrench to her lap, covered in the soft Afghan. Sam follows Octavia out of the cabin. She seals the door behind them shut and locks it with her retina. Squared soundly against a flashlight bulb exploding. Light coats her left eye. Octavia shuts her eyes and the show begins. Blissful tunnels of blue and green behind her eyelids pulsate. Here lies Miles Davis, Bill Evans, blue and green humming wonder and knowledge. Kenneth Noland, Joseph Albers. Here is Earth. Sam opens the next door and they both enter the kitchen. Water beads down Marine's bald head as she sets the table with plates and glasses. Valencia divvies silverware. Rosemary uncorks a bottle of red. Sam plates and tables the food. Octavia takes her seat. This is dinner 462, and such routines are done in silence, like priests preparing for mass, like deep-sea divers preparing for the plunge. The sky-blue table is set and all sit. Valencia unfolds a crinkled page and clears her voice. Rosemary spins her fork in linguine, determined to skewer both capers and olives.